Welcome back to Carbeats, where the classics live forever and every engine has a story. Today, we're stepping into a time machine and cruising back to 1958, a golden year in the history of American automobiles. We're talking about the iconic 1958 Cadillac Coupe, a masterpiece of design, power, and sheer presence. If you're into chrome, fins, and rolling monuments to American ambition, this one's for you. The 1958 Cadillac Coupe wasn't just another luxury car. It was Cadillac making a bold statement. Post-war America was riding a high. People had money, confidence, and an appetite for things that turned heads. Cadillac, already at the top of the food chain when it came to prestige, took that vibe and cranked the volume to 11. What rolled off the production line in 1958 was more than just a car. It was a moving sculpture, built to be admired, flaunted, and remembered. From the very first glance, the 58 Coupe makes you stop and stare. It's long, over 18 feet of American steel, with sweeping lines and a low-slung stance that screams authority. The front end is dominated by a wide, imposing chrome grille, almost like the grin of a car that knows it's the coolest thing on the block. Above that, you've got those quad headlights, a new feature for 58, stacked in pairs, giving it an almost aggressive, futuristic gaze. It looked like something out of a science fiction film, and in a way, it was. It was Detroit's vision of the future, expressed through design and excess. And then, of course, there are the tailfins. Cadillac had been experimenting with fins since the late 40s, inspired by fighter planes and rocket ships. But by 1958, they had evolved into something borderline mythic. Tall, sharp, and dramatically flared, the tailfins on the Coupe are unmistakable. They don't just guide the eye, they demand your attention. Paired with rocket-style taillights and chrome trim that wraps around like jewelry, the rear end of this car might just be its most iconic angle. Slide into the interior, and the story continues. The cabin of the 1958 Cadillac Coupe is a blend of luxury and retro-futurism. Plush bench seats wrapped in leather or patterned cloth, depending on the trim. A dashboard that feels like a cross between a jukebox and an aircraft cockpit, with bright chrome knobs, jet-age styling, and just the right amount of flair. Every surface gleams. The steering wheel is big, elegant, and perfectly suited to those slow, deliberate turns you'd make cruising down Main Street or rolling up to a drive-in. But this car wasn't just about looking good. Cadillac made sure the 58 Coupe had the power to match the style. Under that massive hood sat a 365 cubic inch V8 engine, capable of pumping out about 310 horsepower. That might not sound outrageous by today's standards, but back then, it was a serious amount of muscle. Especially when you pair it with the Hydra-Matic automatic transmission, which made driving the Coupe feel smooth and effortless. This was a cruiser, not a racer, but it could definitely get up and go when you pressed the pedal. Driving a 58 Cadillac Coupe is like piloting a yacht on wheels. The suspension was tuned for comfort. The steering was soft, floating. And the ride, quiet, gentle, refined. This wasn't a car for tight corners or twisty roads, this was made for boulevards, coastlines, and long straightaways. You weren't supposed to race it. You were supposed to be seen in it. It was luxury, loud and proud, the kind of car you parked right out front, not hidden in the garage. What really made the 58 model unique in Cadillac's timeline was its bold styling. Cadillac was in the middle of what we now call the fin wars, a sort of unofficial competition between car makers to see who could push the limits of flamboyant design. The 1958 Coupe was Cadillac's answer. A car that looked like it could take off at any moment, bursting into the stratosphere with all that chrome catching the sun. Every inch of the car was detailed. Chrome bezels, stainless steel trim, two-tone paint jobs, and those glorious white-wall tires. It was sensory overload in the best way possible. The Coupe came as part of the Series 62 line, which meant it had the prestige but wasn't quite at the top-tier Fleetwood level. Still, it was loaded. You could get power windows, power seats, power antenna, automatic headlight dimmers, even air suspension, though that last one was a bit ahead of its time and known to be finicky. Cadillac was throwing everything they had into their cars during this era, and it shows. In terms of price, owning a 1958 Cadillac Coupe wasn't cheap. The base price hovered around $4,600, which today would be the equivalent of over $50,000. But for those who could afford it, it was worth every penny. It said something about who you were, what you had achieved, and how you wanted the world to see you. Today, the 1958 Cadillac Coupe is a certified classic. It's a favorite at car shows, a crown jewel in private collections, and an absolute head-turner on the road. You don't see many of them anymore, especially ones in original condition, but when you do, you feel it. It's not just admiration, it's respect. This was a machine built at a time when cars were more than just transportation. They were expressions of identity, of national pride, of freedom. The 58 Coupe captures that perfectly. Collectors love it for all the reasons we've talked about: the style, the luxury, the sheer uniqueness. But it's also a bit of a unicorn. The 1958 model year was a one-off in terms of design. The following year, Cadillac toned things down a bit, streamlining the fins and grille. So the 58 stands out as this wild, wonderful snapshot of a moment when car design was allowed to go completely off the rails, and it worked. Even in pop culture, the 58 Cadillac holds a place. It's the kind of car you'd expect to see pulling up outside a Vegas casino in the 60s, maybe with Sinatra in the backseat and a bottle of bourbon in the glove box. It's been in films, music videos, and it's the inspiration behind 100 die-cast models and hot rods. There's something about it that captures people's imagination, decade after decade. Restoring one. That's a labor of love. The parts aren't always easy to find, and the chrome alone can be a full-time job. But for those who take it on, the reward is driving a true icon. A car that stops traffic, sparks conversations, and reminds people what American cars used to be. So what is it about the 1958 Cadillac Coupe that still captures our hearts all these years later? Maybe it's the design. Maybe it's the feeling of power and pride it brings. Maybe it's the nostalgia for a time when cars were more than practical. They were powerful, personal, and built to be remembered. In a world that moves fast and forgets even faster, the 58 Cadillac Coupe stands still, proudly, beautifully, like a monument to style. And that's it for today's deep dive on Carbeats. If you love the sound of V8s, the shine of chrome, and the stories that make these machines unforgettable, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Got a classic ride you want us to cover? Let us know. Until next time, keep your hands on the wheel and your ears on the beat.